is the Page Publishing Book Club. How you doing? I'm your host, Alice Stockton Rossini. Avis Brown Riley is a golf champion, but it took her a while to share her story that only got better as time went on. The name of her book is The Building of a Champion. So this all started with your brother, right, Avis?
He said to me one morning, he said, Avis, he says, I don't think you really realize who you are. He goes, you're like the junior world champion. He goes, who can walk around and say that? And I said, you're right, Horace. He goes, yes, you need to let the world know that you are an overachiever in golf at a very early age. So that was another inspiration from my brother that encouraged me to move forward and write the book.
Do golfers know who you are?
Majority of the girls around the country and ladies know who I am. But in this new generation, a lot of them may not recognize my name because I've been out of the industry for so long. I want to encourage young women to learn the game of golf. Let them know that golf has so many values and etiquettes that will groom them to be the best. I talk about my experience being a breast cancer survivor with stage 4, and how it was one of the toughest rounds of golf I ever played in my life. And if it wasn't for being a champion, a winner in life, I don't think I would have ever be successful with battling breast cancer.
When did you start golfing? How old were you?
I was 7 years old when I started playing golf, and I won my first golf tournament when I was 8. And by the age of 10, I was one of the best junior golfers in the country, winning the Junior World, which is a prestigious golf event that still exists today here in San Diego, where all the kids come from all around the world to compete.
What year was that?
That was, I believe, 1973 when I won the Junior World. I played through the San Diego Junior Golf Association here in San Diego. Then I played high school golf, and then I went on to play in college. I attended United States International University, and then I won the San Diego Women's City Amateur at the age of 18, and then I went on to play professional golf for 4 years. And
what titles did you win professionally?
One that I'm very, very proud of is the Michelob Classic out of Canyon Crest Country Club, and I shot a 65. And I believe that record still holds to this day. In the last 24 years, I've been spending a wonderful career at FedEx Express, and then I teach here in San Diego. My family is the founder of the San Diego Inner City Junior Golf Foundation for the past 25 years. So I've been teaching and supporting our organization there, and then working at the same time. I still play, and I love the game. My husband plays, and my 2 kids play, so I enjoy getting out on Sundays playing golf with my family as well.
What is it about golf that I'm missing?
Golf is one of those sports that allows you to explore the inner spirit, the inner peace. You can find harmony. It allows you to challenge yourself. And once you've conquered who you are, you know who you are, you can believe in yourself, it allows you to build that self-esteem, that self-confidence, and build the character and personality on who you will be and become in this world. And those are characteristics that no one could ever take away from you. And that's what I've learned from playing this wonderful game of golf.
My goodness. So how old were you when you got breast cancer?
I was 46 years of age when I was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma.
And you survived?
Yes, I survived stage 4 cancer. Yes, I did, ma'am. You know, with women with breast cancer, you know, when they hear my story, like, oh my goodness, my phone rings all day, every day. So I'm just so fortunate to be alive today, to be able to share my amazing story with the world.
I guess book tours are coming for you, and
yes, we're doing a lot of great things. Public speaking. I just received a call from a film production company a few months ago, so we're actually writing the script for the movie. So we're very, very, very excited.
Somebody picked up your story for a movie?
Yes, absolutely.
How did that happen?
Well, the individual found my book through Facebook, and so she purchased the book. And says, wow, this is an amazing story. She says, let's share it with the world. And I said, let's do it. And we're writing the script. And basically, we're going to share the root, which is my father, Mr. Gordon Brown, who was one of the best golfers in the history of Charleston, South Carolina, and also here in San Diego. He has Gordon Brown Day here in San Diego as well. So we're going to share the story on how the Brown family was introduced to this wonderful game of golf in the early 70s.
Man, it makes me want to go out and learn the game, doesn't it? Thanks, Avis. Put a love for Christmas and alien conspiracy theories together, and what do you get? A book called Space Princess that Megan Rice wrote after many, many conversations with her dad over the years, and it's just in time for Christmas, Megan.
Yes. So it's basically about this young alien girl. She's been interested in traveling. Her parents are kind of scouts, so they travel between planets, and so she's interested in learning about different planets, and she has these special speakers and this computer that picks up frequencies within the universe, and ultimately she starts hearing the same type of sound coming from her computer every year. And so she wants to find out what it's from, where it's coming from. And so she hijacks a spacecraft and she travels through space and discovers where the sound is coming from, and it's coming from Earth. So she lands on Earth, and then she ends up with a family of 2 girls and parents, and they teach her all about humans and interacting with humans and about Christmas, and they just teach her all about the spirit of the holiday. But then she also runs into trouble while she's on the planet, so she's dealing with how to confront that trouble and just to make sure that the family that she's with stays safe.
Okay, does she leave Earth or does she stay here?
Her decision is at the end of the book, so I don't
She
know if I want
decides
to spoil anything.
whether she likes it enough to stay here or whether she's got to go.
Yeah.
So, do you have people interested in reading it? Are you getting people interested in reading it?
Yeah, I'm working on kind of reaching out to other bookstores, especially bookstores like Barnes & Noble, trying to promote it with posters that are provided by Page Publishing. So I'm working on that right now, but I mean, my friends and family are all very interested in it because they know me and my dad and our interest in aliens. So they've all been interested in buying it, which is really great, and for the support. But yeah, so right now I'm just currently working with bookstores trying to get it out there. I mean, a huge long-term goal for it'd be awesome to see it in production as an animated movie, but I really just want it to be one of those books that I guess is just really popular amongst the kids, just to kind of get them interested in something that's maybe outside of the box. Or
Well, it's a Christmas story, right?
Yeah. So I think it would just be really great to see it as something that's a great Christmas gift for kids and just to kind of get them more into science fiction.
A sci-fi Christmas classic.
Yeah.
Do you have access to kids anywhere?
Barnes & Noble has the kids book club that they brought back, and so that's ultimately what I'm trying to kind of push the book into. I would love to see like plush toys of her little cat, because she has a little animal companion, and it's an alien companion, but it pretty much looks like a cat. So right. I would love to see a plush toy. And I've on the side just been thinking of ideas to continue her journey throughout, maybe not centering it only on her visiting Earth, but maybe other planets.
All right, so we might hear more from the princess.
Yes, you might.
All right. Orrin L. Harris was the victim of a corporate merger about 25 years ago and did not like the way his company handled their quote-unquote relationship. Well, that led him to a lifetime of studying all kinds of relationships, and now he's published his first book entitled The ELLER Model.
The Eller model, experiencing long-lasting and enjoyable relationship, uses new insights by quantifying love and relationship and make it easier to follow so people could find love perfectly without heartbreaks, and also people can keep their love flowing without divorces and separation. And somebody's quantifying has to do with looking at male and female with something that I call a 90-10 matrix, looking at people across the spectrum of culture and race and ethnic and gender with 9 parts, 5 parts that are intangible, the parts you can't see, like the mind, the will, the heart, spirit, and emotion, and then looking at the parts you can see, like the body, the skin, the mouth, and the brain, and to be able to look at a person and understand those 9 parts so you can really understand who they are before you go fall in love and before you're married. And also to look at a relationship curve called a RDC curve, a relationship degradation curve, which breaks up a relationship life once you've found love into 4 sections: shared residence, dual working, parenting, and aged parents. And by doing that, you can understand your relationship a lot better because it's almost like prescribe how it works. And then also to set up love into 3 sections that intertwines together: the empowerment section and the hard section, the easy section, and to show how all that intertwines together to keep love flowing. And finally, 80-20 pattern model that breaks down, decision and influences into 80 and 20. I've used this into my practice for the past 25 years, and that's where I got a lot of data that helped me write the book. And I also drove limousine for 20 years, and in a limousine, people love to talk. And when they have a person who knows how to get them to talk and a person who's willing to listen, they share a lot about their life. And in the limousine, I've gotten a tremendous amount of data about relationships and people's marriage and struggles. And with that information, I was also able to put the model together and use it to help people.
And you feel that it's successful?
I have a 80% success ratio.
Success in keeping relationships together or in helping people find out that they're in the wrong relationship? What do you mean by success? By both. All right. So you basically help people find their path.
Yes.
And
yes.
get on the same page with their partners. Is this like a handbook?
Yes. It's like a handbook. It's like a self-help for people.
You know, the problem with all of this is that emotions take over.
The reason why the emotions can be curtailed is because of the 9 parts, there's a part known as a spirit, and the spirit is what provides empowerment. And each person have a spirit, but I show where the spirit needs to be activated. And when the spirit is activated, that provides empowerment, and the empowerment controls the emotions, so people don't make decisions based on what they feel, but they can make decisions based on a model.
All right, well, think on that while we take a very short break. Don't go anywhere. This is the Page Publishing Book Club.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you: printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-204-6099 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-204-6099 for your free author submission kit.
We are back on the Page Publishing Book Club. I'm your host, Alice Stockton Rossini. Armida Nagy Roses Association with a South Florida Middle Eastern dance group, and their spiritual leader inspired her to write Daughters of the Dance. It's about 3 generations of women immersed in the art form and their relationships with powerful men and their survival through 3 major wars. Armida.
When you open the book, it would be a flash forward of the second principal dancer of the Dance of the Belly, to translate the French. And she is coming out of a catatonic episode, and it was her way in dealing with the tragedy that she experienced 2 years prior. And she finally realizes who she wants to be. The title of the book is true, but it is also misleading because it focuses historically on the Sephardic Ladino community of Curacao that went there as early as the 1600s to establish a new life. It deals with the menace of the Spanish Civil War and the 2 world wars as backdrop, because it's really kind of an epic. All of the Americas, the Caribbean, the Netherlands, Great Britain, and Spain became enmeshed in the Third Reich's plan to rule the world. So it deals with that historically. And there is an espionage component to the novel. During that time, the Dutch Mata Hari was involved in espionage, but there were other dancers during that time who were involved in espionage for and against the Nazis. So it's about the men in their lives behaving tragically or badly, nobly towards the women in their lives. It is about the artful and skilled women keeping alive the true spirit of the dance. The first dance that is described is of a virgin maiden coming forward, and so she dances before the elite of Willemstad, the capital of Curacao. And then there are other dances described throughout the novel, theming the variations of womanhood. And then, of course, how the men in their lives respond to the art and to the women differently. We know about Oscar Wilde and, Salome, and we know that during that time the dance was becoming known, but what happened is that though he translated the story and understanding the purpose of that dance, it was tainted for its sensuality and the fact that she served as a temptress before King Herod. So these are backstories to the main narrative of the characters struggling to survive and to understand life.
Very interesting, Armida. Thank you. As a professor of comparative medicine and pathobiology, Frederick Fry has written dozens of books, but now he's completed a biography in honor of his late wife. It's entitled Brucie.
It's interesting. I've written 55 books altogether or contributed to them. Most of them were scientific or textbooks. This is unusual, and it's a hybrid. It's not only a biography of my late wife, but also an autobiography, a memoir. And the last part of the hybrid is that it's a guide for those who are either contemplating serving the role as a caregiver or who are already serving in that role. We were married almost 62 years. So the book describes not only our marriage together, but also our travels together. I used to travel about 150,000 miles a year all over the world as a guest lecturer. I'm a professor. And so accordingly, we traveled pretty widely to Asia, Europe, South America, really reflecting a very productive marriage and a team approach to this. We were from quite different backgrounds. However, in matter of fact, when I came in the Navy, I had a girlfriend that I had known since high school. We had really planned on getting married until Brucie's mother and friends and my mother, they didn't know each other, arranged a blind date, and the rest was history. Very successful marriage. Besides being a mother to our two kids, she was also my editor for over 50 years.
There you go. So you really were a team. You worked together.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And when I was in practice, she was my office manager, although people who didn't know her personally never suspected we were married. She was always Brucie, not Mrs. Fry. And I didn't believe in nepotism, but she was so good at what she was doing that it was just an opportunity I wasn't going to let go. When I finally retired from practice, she then worked for a dentist for about 14 years, and so we really were so busy traveling that she gave that up, and we spent the rest of our lives together until she became ill. Traveling. As a matter of fact, when she passed away, we had a celebration of her life, and we had people come from 4 continents were here. All of my books weren't scientific. There were 4 that weren't. I wrote 2 humor books and 2 memoirs, plus this one. I think there's a lot of humor in this book because we both had a good sense of humor. And when I was ill, I was not a very good patient. I was, just from the standpoint of physically, but occasionally I got bored, and the result was a lot of humor. I served for the Smithsonian Institution on the expedition to Pakistan in 1968. Picked up a really nasty disease while I was there that made itself known in 1970. And from the 70s to really the present, I was in and out of hospitals, so trying to remedy this thing.
And as fate would have it, you wound up caring for your wife when she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. You just never know, Frederick. This is really a celebration of life, and I think your wife would be proud. Thanks. John Cutugno details a difficult journey in his book entitled I, Patient, from suffering with badly infected feet to undergoing surgery and learning to walk with prosthetics with the help of people he didn't even know. John.
I was in the hospital for 3 months. I had both of my feet amputated. I got to see the whole gamut of what the healthcare system is all about, the good, the bad, the ugly. And it was, quite an experience, because it all changed my life.
Why did you have to have 2 feet amputated?
Well, I had severe infections in both of my feet from diabetes. At that time, I owned a small business for 31 years, and basically I had to be on my feet for a long time during the day, and the doctors told me basically, if I want my feet to heal, I'd have to spend, like 4 or 5 months off my feet. And I said, well, if I did that, I wouldn't have a business and no way to live. So it was kind of a trade-off, just keep working and working. And then it got to the point where my feet were, so infected that I just kind of like passed out. And that's how the book starts.
And then we go on this journey of your medical treatment, how you got through it.
What was really kind of miraculous to me was the fact that one of my friends belonged to a men's Bible study group. And he got a number of the men there to pray for me in the hospital that I didn't even know. And when he told me about it, it really kind of touched me that these people would, be praying for God's mercy and grace to come upon me that I never met before. And, like now I have joined that group and I sit at a table with the people that were actually praying for me. So it's like a full circle type of thing. It was really interesting. I mean, when I was first brought to the hospital, semi-conscious from all the pain and infection and everything, my situation was like the perfect storm of bad. I was worried about my mom and I was worried about my son and I was worried about my business and I was worried about where I was going to live because I knew that once they cut my feet off that I wouldn't be able to work anymore, and I wouldn't be able to go back to the house that I was renting because it wasn't really friendly towards someone with no feet. If someone is in a situation where they have to go into the hospital for an amputation or if there's a lot of bad things going in their life, I think if they read the book, they'll probably come out with the opinion of, wow, if he got through all that, mine doesn't sound that bad anymore.
Geez, John, you got that right. Thanks for sharing your story. Finally, Beatrice Rodriguez has been taking notes for 30 years, and she would write short stories, put them away, and then she took a writing class. And now she's completed her first book entitled Remember the Time. Beatrice.
It's a series of short stories of things that have happened in me and my husband's life, along with children as they were growing up.
Do you have a favorite one you can share with me?
Tons of them. Well, one of the first ones that my teacher really enjoyed was my son heard on the TV that movie Bambi was coming into town, and he wanted to see it. He was about 7. and my other son was 5, and I had 2 little sisters. So one day we decided we were going to go see Bambi. And after the movie, my kids were talking about how much they enjoyed it. And then Jerome, my oldest, he said, Mom, I've never seen a meadow. Well, the next Saturday, that was our family outing to go find a meadow along the coast in California. Well, we found a meadow. The kids, they ran into the meadow, and they were just having a good time. But then all of a sudden we noticed that Jerome Jr. started crying. So we started running towards them, and he crashed into a bee. And we didn't have any water to wash the bee out. So my husband said, we got to go to the hospital. As we were going to the emergency hospital, my husband told him, roll down the window and maybe the wind will blow out some of the debris from the bee out of your eye. Well, he screamed again. Somehow a fly went in his ear, okay? So it was screaming a little louder. We got to the emergency hospital, and the doctors and everything heard the commotion. They came running, and the doctor says, how long has this epileptic attack been happening? My husband said, he doesn't have epilepsy. He's got a bee in his eye and a fly in his ear. The doctor started, no, as they rushed him down the hallway to wash out his eye. And the boy was jiggling on the gurney and in torment. So they washed out his eye, and then they turned him over, and we're all standing around, and they put the water in his ear, and all of a sudden out floats a little fly on its back, kicking and everything. So I thought to myself, we better watch out for those little UFOs. But there are a lot of them like that. I mean, just my kids have had stuff happen.
Every family has those stories, so it makes it very relatable, It's very
And so I'd like to do book signings around here, but they're all true stories. None of it.
Nothing made up.
Nothing.
Well, at the very least, your family has something to look back on and to read about, and you've documented, that time you had together. So that's important too. Thank you, Beatrice, and thanks to all of the authors who joined us for this edition of the Page Publishing Book Club. If you missed anything, go to 710WOR.com and download the podcast. I'm Alice Stockton Rossini. See you next time.